lights are off and away they go.
Extremely loose. He's managed to hold on and they get.
He missed the complete. He's crazy stuff.
Side Freitas is on the grass on the infield floor. He slides through. He tags Richard Eck.
The desert drips with nostalgia as 38-year-old race cars take to a track 10 years gone, honoring a legend 82 years young. The Lionheart Retro Series comes to Phoenix International Raceway for the Foyt Retro Indy Phoenix, the penultimate round of 18 on the inaugural season schedule. And all the action from Green Flag to Victory Donuts can be seen live as it happens here on the Global Sim Racing channel. From the Grand Canyon State, hello and welcome to another GSRC broadcast. Filling in for Adam Young, it's yours truly, Bill Soupzon, joined once again along with Tanner Sharp, way up in the press box to bring you our bird's eye view. Turning the knobs and pushing the sliders is the hardest working man in sim race broadcasting. Not Joe Peak, no, it's Amjad Yaman, and at his disposal is the cameras provided by Dougie Beard. As the shadows grow long and thin under a low Phoenix sun, the car of choice for this series is, as always, the Lotus 79, and the track is the old version of the Phoenix International Raceway. So Tanner, tell us a little bit about this place.
Nestled in the foothills of Arizona's Estrella Mountains, Phoenix International Raceway is one of America's most challenging ovals. Though originally built of open-wheel racing, over the past 2 decades, the Desert Flower has become even more famous for stock car competition. With its short front straightaway and layout, including a trademark of left-hand dog leg on the backstretch, this demanding 1-mile circuit has been a favorite with top driver talent since its opening in 1964. Relatively flat, turns 1 and 2 and the dog leg are banked between 10 to 11 degrees, while turns 3 and 4 are even flatter, slanted somewhere between 8 to 9 degrees of banking. But the best way to get an idea of what this place is really like is to hop on board the GSRC Lotus 79 to take a lap around Phoenix.
Hello everyone, welcome to the Global Sim Racing channel. I'm Brian Yazek, taking you for a spin around the Phoenix International Raceway 2008 configuration in the GSRC Lotus 79. Without further ado, here we go. So this is Phoenix before the rebuild and the repave. So it's a little flatter. So down here in turn 1, I'm going to have to take a little bit more of an arc in and let the car drift up towards the wall. Not too close. You don't want to go up there and kiss it. You'll notice all this is paved or grassed over down there. Down here into turn 3, real wide entry coming up to the middle. Let it float to the bottom and then kind of pick up, and you want to follow that white line off of turn 4 to really get your momentum going. Once again, off here into turn 1, the Lotus, you can really drive in. So you're going to see a couple different styles of how guys might want to take that corners. But down here through the dog leg again, don't get the rumble strips. Bring it right out here to that Chevrolet sign on the wall, and then start your turn in from there. And you see, once again, to the bottom, follow the dotted white line off of the corner, off of turn 4, and across the line. And that's going to complete our track guide here around the Phoenix International Raceway 2008 configuration. My name is Brian Yazek. Enjoy the show.
There's a lap around Phoenix, the much grassier version from 2008. Now let's take a lap around the point standings. Here's what's up. The GSRC stats boys, Simon and Poindexter, have told me that with only this and one more race remaining, because of drop races, No Name's Jake Wright 68-point lead is safe. So it's still very much unofficial, but we're pretty secure in saying that he has that championship lapped up. Now, while the championship might not be up for contestation, many other positions still are. AGR's Jason Galligan can still catch Streamline Racing's Ryan Otis for second, especially since Otis has been missing in action for quite a while. The Candyman Dustin Wardlow for Dragonfly Racing is only 10 points up on AGR's Travis Jagerliner. How about this? Spots 6, 7, and 8 are still shuffleable. How about between privateer David Altman, Control KS Bob Mikas, and another independent driver of Samuel Ryman? And a pair of Joes fight for ninth. No Name Racing's Joe Hassard is only 8 ahead of Joe Branch. Now, what is unusual, let's go to the team championship, is that the team championship is actually closer than the drivers' championship. Now, keep in mind that even though our graphic shows only 2 drivers per teams can be made up as many as 5 drivers with the best 3 scores from any teammate comprising that team score for one event. Adrenaline Racing was the big winner at Dover, scoring 130 points thanks to Adam Blocker, Chris Stouffer, and Joe Branch. But only a point back was AGR. Jason Galvin, George Anzaldo, and Travis Jaegerleiner combined for 129 points. But those teams closed the gap by over 30 points on No Name Racing. The best they could do was 96 points. Jake Wright, Pierre Degla, and Joseph Hassard doing the work there. So the team championship very much in contestation. So Tanner, we've talked about the series, and we're always picking up new viewers. So for those who are coming for the first time, let's talk about the race details.
Yep, today's race details is round of 17 of 18 races. Today's race is going to be 150 laps for 150 miles around Phoenix, around the 1 mile course, and 2 pit stops approximately with a fuel stint of approximately 60 laps. Now, there is an incident cap, and now you're probably asking yourself, well, what's that mean if you're a new viewer? Well, if you make another contact with another car, hitting the wall, or even touch the grass, those incident caps count against you, and touching another car is the biggest thing because that's a times 4 right there. An incident cap times 8 will cost you 3 championship points, and a times 12 will give you a disqualification, and including a 5 championship points taken away from you. There's no fast repairs, so if you damage the car, oh well, you had best case scenario, fix it down pit road. The points are standard, and the weather today, the track temperature is 74 degrees, partly cloudy skies, and a late afternoon setting. Humidity is 55%. The winds are coming from the north.
Now, Tanner, with about 3 minutes to go here in practice before qualifying starts, and qualifying is going to be really, really important because I think this race, passing is going to be tough. It's all going to be about track position, don't you think?
Yeah, absolutely. And if you're going to try to make a track position or try to pass somebody, you're going to have to do it off of turn number 2. The reason why that is because some driver might make a mistake in the draft and push up and might hit that outside wall. Some drivers might take advantage of that and try to do that. Otherwise, this is a very tough racetrack to pass at Phoenix, and you can't go really through the dogleg because there's grass there. So passing is going to be really key, a really hard thing to do, and you want to try to pass in the corners of the racetrack and get a good run off the exit of the corner on somebody. Of course, that is all stock car talk right there, but in these open wheels, they draft a lot easier, and they can really push a lot easier than a stock car can.
Pit strategy, I think, going to be very important. We're looking for 2 stops unless we have an incredible yellow fest, which I'm not really seeing today. I think we're going to have maybe a couple, 2 or 3 yellows, maybe off of what Tanner was talking about. Turn 2, I think, could be the trouble. But I think the way that the fuel, the way you set up your car, and they are fixed setups, but you can still kind of time it so that you make sure you're not racing with too much fuel. I think the cars are going to be a little easier to drive on lighter fuel, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, absolutely. And another thing on top of that, Bill, is that when you're under caution flag, if we do get a caution flag and you stay out, that's a chance for you to save some of that fuel. And at some tracks, you could be saving at least 2 laps of fuel under caution. So that's something to keep an eye on as well. But I think the pit strategy, if we do have green flag pit stops here today at Phoenix, it's definitely going to change up the game plan. It's definitely going to see some guys who aren't very good at this track be playing pit strategy and throwing them up into the top 10.
We talked about the cars. Of course, these are the Lotus 79s. This is right when ground effects was coming in. If you aren't familiar with ground effects, it's not so much the aerodynamics of the wings pushing you down, but it's the way that they would carve the undercarriage of the car to make it suck down onto the track like a vacuum. As we ride on board here with the thumbs up, cancer down car of Jason Galvin, we can see looking off the front left suspension. And one of the other things you'll notice that is a thing of days gone by is how far forward the driver sits in these cars compared to where they are in modern open wheelers now. Look at the blimp up in the sky. Pretty day.
Very pretty day here at Phoenix, and that's actually a very good thing that the sun's kind of going down here in Phoenix because that lowers the track temperature, and the lower the track temperature, the cooler the racetrack, which means vamped up the grip. So, and the drivers in these cars love the grip, but just be careful turn 2, be patient on your passes, and call your pit stops just right.
This is predetermined weather. The series officials set the weather ahead of time so the drivers can practice in it. They know what's going on. I wish the real world weather was so predictable as it is here in the Lionheart IndyCar, or the Retro Series, and in the IndyCar Series as well. But with fixed setups, they know exactly what they're in for, and it gives them time to practice during the week, which makes this some really good racing because there's no surprises out there. Practice is just about done, so let's go ahead. We'll cover qualifying here. It's only going to be 5 minutes, and it's 2 laps, so drivers will have to go out and put in their best laps. Where they qualify, Tanner, with passing being at such a premium, qualifying lap, very important.
It definitely is. Track position is going to be your key today. If you can start up towards the front, you should be able to remain up towards the front without avoiding any kind of trouble whatsoever. So far, the fastest practice time is a 22.892. And that was by Christopher, who is the only driver in practice to throw an 8 on top of the speed charts. Right now, he is currently on track right now, so hopefully he can get a good qualification run. He knows he's got a fast car. It's just a matter on it. Can he start up towards the front? If he can start up towards the front, he'll be a guy to watch out for today. A driver that I'm kind of curious to see not in the top 5. I know he's currently in 6, and right now he's out there taking a qualification time, and that is Jake Wright. A little bit loss of speed, just a little bit. So far, he goes on top of the board. Or actually, excuse me, now that's changing as I'm speaking of it right now. So he's actually one of the slowest guys so far there, Soup.
He got to the top of the board just to be in first one to get a lap in, and now he's fallen down to 7th. Jake's got 3 wins so far this season, but he's only got 1 on ovals. And in this Retro Series, his oval production has not been what you would think for a championship to be running. Yes, he still has a win. He always is competitive, but he is certainly a road course specialist. Right now, Jake puts in a 2nd lap, and he's sitting up there in 3rd position, but he continues to fall. We're looking at Frank Beezer here in the car number 23.
Yep, Frank Beezer. He's currently 21st in the championship standings, has yet to lead a lap all season long here, with a best finish of 11th place back in Dover on earlier this month on October 5th. So Frank Beezer hoping to have a good run today.
Now, if you're new to sim racing, and this is obviously I'm telling people who are aware of this, it's going to be old news to them, but this is lone qualifying. All the cars might be out there right now, but there really is only one car on the track. That's why our director can cut back from one to the other. Everybody has a track to themselves, as if there were 29 individual Phoenix International Raceways for them to race on. We're looking at the Candyman now, Dustin Wardlow.
Wardlow. Yeah, he's been currently a 4th in the championship standings here, so far this season. I don't know if a shot at winning the championship will happen, but hey, I mean, he's got a shot to win today. Last race, I believe he ran, correct me if I'm wrong, has been Barber, which was a road course back in September. So he has missed a couple of races so far this season.
He had a win, and if you're going to have one win, how about you pick it up at Indianapolis?
Yep,
only place for the Candyman to get one.
Yeah, and I have to touch up on that race. That was a phenomenal race. Go check it out on the GSRC YouTube channel here. That was a crazy race. He won that race just a couple hundred yards to the finish line, only leading 1 lap. So, because that big old wreck, one of the greatest Lionheart retro races of the season, in my opinion, as a commentator up in their booth. But that was a very wild finish, I shall say.
Qualifying looks like it's just about setting up. How about finishing up? How about the rookie Adam Blocker up there putting in a qualifying time? We'll give you the actual number, 23.219. That's about 6/1000ths of a second faster than, hey, Ryan Otis is here today. Good for him.
Yeah, let's Adam Blocker, probably one of the most consistent rookies in the field here. Everywhere we go here, Soup, in the Lionheart Retro Series, he's bad fast. And he's been leading laps like crazy. He only raced 2 racetracks. He has yet to lead a lap this season, was back in Iowa and Dover, which was the last race that these guys just ran, was Dover. Otherwise, every single race he's at least led a lap. So Adam Blocker is going to be another fast driver today and in contention to get his 3rd or 4th win of the season.
Otis, I got excited there. Otis is 2nd in the points. He's missed a lot of races. He scored 2nd. And he's only scored on 12 races. I believe he has a couple zeros. That even takes into account the drop races. So Ryan's had a very good season. Always good, very competitive on either oval or road. Good to see Mr. Otis back out there with us, as we had 21 drivers put in qualifying times. It looks like About 4 drivers who put in practice times didn't get into qualifying time. Let's go ahead and go to the grid right now. We have plenty of time, so we'll take them 2 at a time here. Tanner, I'll take the front row, and it is Adam Blocker inside of Ryan Otis.
Scott Bolster is going to roll off in the 3rd spot. He'll be alongside Big Joe Hazard in 4th.
Jason Galvin and Bob Mikas make up row 3.
Championship leader Jake Wright in 7th and Ron Hacker in 8th.
And in 9th and 10th, it is Frank Beezer and Tony Schowen.
GSRC's very own Samuel Ryman's going to start in 11th, and he'll be side-by-side with league organizer Jordan Zaldo.
In the Baker's Dozen spot, it's Joe Branch inside of Travis Jägerliner.
Robert Blumenthal is going to round out the top 15 area. He'll be alongside Mitchell Moeller.
In the 16th position there, it's going to be, did we get that there? There we go. We got Bluen in 15th, Moeller in 16th, Dustin Wardlow in 17th, and then in 18th position, Matthew Mercer.
Interesting. Deep in the field for Wardlow. Interested to see how well he's going to do today. Brian Greenlee is going to be in 19th, and rounding out that top 20, Pierre Deigel.
Chris Stouffer, Drew Motz, Mark Omrick, Ian Adams, Dylan McKenna, and David Courtney round out the rest of the field. How about some onboard cameras? What do we got today? Looks like we'll take a quick look here at Jason Galvin. I believe he is in the thumbs up, cancer down onboard camera. And then we'll look at Samuel Ryman, GSRC's own driver, racing in the GSRC onboard camera. And finally, welcome back Ryan Otis out there, qualified up in 2nd position. He's in the Streamline Racing onboard camera. All right, everybody, welcome to Phoenix, says David Cordy as he addresses the field right now, getting them all welcome to go. 150 laps of racing here. This and one more race to go in the inaugural season of the Lionheart Retro Lotus 79 Championship. David Courtney going over the talk about in and out of pit lane. Let's talk about pit lane here a little bit, Tanner. Fairly straightforward, wouldn't you say, for an oval?
Yeah, most definitely, but it's still, you got to try to get that car wound down to about, that can be 45 miles an hour down pit road, which can be a very difficult thing when you're at high speeds, especially if you're running 23-second lap times at Phoenix. So getting down to 45 miles an hour on them brinks, just don't spin out, whatever you do. And another thing, what you got to do is try not to beat yourself on pit road. And what I mean by that is don't overdrive your pit box, where you have to reverse it, which can cost you so many 100 yards out there on the racetrack. So don't beat yourself on pit road. Pace car speeds 55 miles an hour, as we are getting, I believe it's only 1 pace lap around this joint.
Yeah, it should come around and pull right in, so we'll get underway real soon. And let's hope we have a nice, clean race today, get some green flag pit stops in. Those are always exciting. Up on front, it is your Adam Blocker, the rookie, racing in the number 74 on the inside of Ryan Otis. Where is your point leader, Jake Wright, way back in 7th position inside of row 4.
Adam Blocker, definitely one of the strongest guys on the season, even though he didn't start the full season, Sue. But he's certainly strong no matter where he goes. He's about to take the green flag for these boys and unleash the cats.
Pace car is in. You know what to do. Gather up the chickens, take cover behind the cows, because the horses are out of the barn, and Adam Blocker leads the stampede down into corners 1 and 2. Ryan Otis sneaks into 2nd. Big Joe Hazard in 3rd. Scott Bolster and Jason Galvin round out your top 5.
First side-by-side battle right there is going to be Scott Bolster and Jason Galvin down in turn number 3. Galvin wants a spot on track. Don't know if he's quite really going to get it here. He's still working at outside line. Nice momentum run on Scott Bolster there entering turn number 1. Oh, and looks like Bolster's actually going to get the huge run on entrance. But here comes Jason Galvin right on back on that outside row right there, using a little bit of a side draft to try to stick with them without hitting the wall, without making car contact. It looks like that higher line's a fast line, but I don't know right now if he's going to get him. Right now, if he's going to try anything, it should be on the inside row. He's going to try it down in turn number 3. Gets his nose chopped off a little bit because of it. Ooh, some good old side-by-side action in the first couple laps of this race.
And getting his nose chopped off cost him momentum, and now you see Galvin in that fluorescent yellow and green Menards car up there, the Quaker State machine, getting past for position. Bob Mikas gets underneath him.
Yeah, Bob Mikas getting underneath, and Galvin wants to come back to take that position back. This time it's been a better line, but I think he had a terrible exit off the corner. The exit of the corner. Bob Mikas is going to take advantage of that. Jake Wright sitting comfortably back there in 7th.
Tony Schowen in 8th position. Rounding out your top 10, Ron Hacker and Frank Beezer. We ride on board with Tony Schowen right now. Looking ahead at the points champion right now, Jake Wright. He's got 2 championships over in the IndyCar Series, looking to pick up the inaugural championship here in the Retro Series.
That's going to be making history right there in the Lionheart Retro League altogether. Jake Wright really shown speed in every series he has ran in the Lionheart. So far, sitting comfortably in the 7th spot. I don't think he's in a rush to pass Jason Galvin. Right now, he kind of has no choice since he had a big old momentum off of turn number 2.
Boy, Galvin again, working this time, making the top side work.
I think we got a battle up towards the front, though. We did. Battle for the race lead.
They are side by side. The blue car up on top. That's Adam Blocker. Underneath is Ryan Otis. Otis in the board machine. Blocker is really having a hard time finding a lane up top. Otis, I think, is going to be able to keep that car pointed straight, and we have ourselves a new leader right now. Give him credit for leading lap number 8. Not sure if he'll be the leader in lap number 9 as Blocker is coming back. Enjoying the show is Big Joe Hazard in 3rd and Scott Bolster in 4th. Those 4 cars begin to distance themselves. Here comes back Blocker, trying to find his way around in the blue and black machine.
Blocker was flirting with the outside wall off of exit of turn number 2. Almost couldn't fit a piece of paper between that and the tire and the wall. But now he's going to come back underneath Ryan Otis down in turn number 1. Is he going to be able to complete the pass? I don't believe he will. Still side by side in the dog leg area. Right now, this is going to give the higher line to Ryan Otis. So far, it's been all inside line of turns 3 and 4. And Adam Blocker takes the lead right back, but not without a give up from Ryan Otis on that higher line of the racetrack.
It's nice to know that passing can be done. It's all about getting momentum off the corner. You can get it in hard and really in deep in 1, but you paid the price on the exit of 2. Right now, let's stay on it. Otis trying to make the top side work.
Oh, Ron Hacker. Oh, Tony.
Big
accident. Yep.
Schowen involved in it.
Oh, actually, believe it or not, I think Tony Schoen was already into the outside wall before Hacker. Something happened to Jason Galvin that really slowed up the momentum of Tony Schoen there, Soup. Kind of ricocheted. Wow.
Yeah, it was Galvin actually who was, you're absolutely right. It starts with Galvin, and I'm not sure. Galvin was trying to make a pass on the inside of Jake Wright. The car got loose, and then he kind of backed up, and then that's when we got into trouble. And then we'll see who that last car was that got in there. Oh, was that Samuel Ryman? We'll see who it is there. Samuel Ryman was late to the show, and look, he just couldn't find a way around. Here we go. Ouch.
Oh, yeah, nowhere to go. But do we have an onboard of Joe Branch, though?
We're looking for that right now. As there's pit stops are coming in, none of the top guys have pitted. We're looking at them right now coming in. All the leaders, Blocker, Otis, Big Joe Hazard, Bolster, Mike is staying out there. Jason Galvin coming over, giving his apologies right now, saying he was making an attack on 5th. And now we're going to look at the replay as we're going to go on board. Our director has found somebody to go on board with. We want to go on board with Joe Branch.
Yeah, this is with Joe Branch. Now watch this. The accident's going to happen up ahead. Now if you're riding in one of these cars, man, this would be a little bit of a fear factor right there. Kind of a scary moment. Wow, very pretty good wreck avoidance.
Just kind of cleared out for him. Sam Ryman saying, boy, I wish they would have cleared out like that for me. So 3 to 4 cars caught up in that one. Remember, in any Lionheart race, whether it be the IndyCar Series or the Retro Series, is big boy racing. No fast repairs. You break it, you bought it. So our first incident hits at lap 13 of 150. Not really in the pit window to come in. If you still came in here, you still have to make 2 stops, I believe. That's why most of the guys are staying out.
Now, I really got to kind of look back at my own, but the first guy on tires, fresher tires, is going to be Jason Galvin, who had an issue. Not quite sure if he hit the wall at some point, made another car contact, but he was kind of a ricochet moment that really ricocheted that incident down in turn 3.
I don't think he picked up a lot of damage. I think it was just off the pace, and that's what caused the incident. I'm not sure if that car got hurt much.
There was really no contact between Schoen and Galvin. I just looked back at it. What happens was they were going through the dog leg, and Galvin was actually picking up the draft of Jake Wright, and the car just kind of snapped loose on because he kind of twitched the wheel a little bit and kind of killed his momentum coming out of the dog leg, which was a wreck avoidance right there for Tony Schoen. So this may be a good opportunity under this caution for Galvin to get some tires, just to kind of regain his feeling in the car a little bit here, regain his composure.
So the leaders remain who we saw up there in front: Blocker and Otis running 1-2, Big Joe Hassard and Scott Bolster running 3-4. That's about how they ran before. Bob Micas in the 6th position. You're looking for a hard charger, you want to say? Well, how about we go back to the driver in P8 right now? That's Pierre Degla. Pierre Degla racing back there. He started in 20th. He is up 12 spots. Racing in the Monster Energy machine for Degla.
Ian Adams is the driver that I'm kind of seeing, one of the biggest movers of the race so far in the 15th position, but we're going back green flag racing here in the Lionheart Retro Series at Phoenix.
Here we go. Scott Bolster takes him down into corner number 1. Otis falls in behind about 4 car lengths back.
3 wide. Scott Bolster in the middle. Holy cow. Through the dog leg.
Great run. The car on the low side is Jake Wright. Bob Micas out in front of that squad.
That got dicey.
Branch back there in 7th. That's Bolster now. Being challenged by a hard charger. Watch for Degla as he tries to make the topside work. This is back for 8th. Now he tries to dip underneath. The car almost got out from under him. Degla being really aggressive as the battle for 7th. Looking to get around Bolster.
Here he comes, just now getting 9th place. The Dwar's Candy Machine of Dustin Wardlow coming from 17th spot on track. Battle for the lead, though.
We go up front. On the top side, it's the blue car of Bolster. Low is Ryan Otis. They go into 3 side by side. Now the inside car will have the advantage coming into the corner. Let's see what kind of run Otis can get on the top side. He's going to see if he can duck underneath, pull a little bit of a draft. Look like he can get him into 1. No, he's going to have to check up a little bit. Now he's going to lose a little bit of momentum. Is that going to open up the door for Hassard to get in there? Big Joe back there just enjoying what's going on in front of him right now. Look at the run, though, now, Tanner, that Otis has. They come into 3 and 4, not going to be able to get it done.
Not going to get her done just yet, but at one of these laps, he's definitely going to get it done. He had a nice run off turn number 4. I don't think he's going to do anything with it just right now. Seeing 2 different lines, but it looks like Otis is actually in a faster line. I mean, did you see the momentum he really carried throughout the middle of the corner to the eggs of the corner that put a little bit of a gap between Blocker and Otis?
Let's go to 4. Oh, my goodness.
Wow.
Jake Wright was trying to make a move on Bob Micas. They almost got together, and Jake Wright almost got a taste of the Phoenix wall. We're going to go on board Jake here and watch how this happens. Micas kind of drifts up on him, and Wright has to just avoid that. Whoa.
Wow, that would make my hair stand up.
Now here we go. We'll go back to it again because here comes Otis. Here comes Micas one more time as they are. This is for 5th position, actually for 4th position. Micas on the top side. Look at the momentum he's going to have off of 2, and he gets that done. Right back to 3rd. The guy I'm telling you to keep an eye on is Pierre Degla, racing in 7th position. He's a little farther back. We'll see what kind of lap times he can put in. He's got clean air in front of him. I've been watching him. He's able to put the car in places anybody else is not.
Yeah, he's been on a move since that drop of the green flag. So far, run consistently in the top 10 here tonight. Right now, Dustin Wardlow cracked the top 10. Travis Jägerliner is another driver that cracked the top 10 as well. So we got some players outside that top 10 area.
Can we go back? Can we go find Mark Armick real quick? If you find an instant for him, I don't think it brought out the yellow, but he hit the wall. I'm not sure if our director's going to be able to find it. He came up right on the back of Greenlee, who was off pace. And we have that one. We'll look at the battle of the lead right now, and we'll come back and get that one in a minute. Surprised it didn't bring off a yellow. And here comes the blue car of Blocker underneath as he easily gets the spot on Otis.
Otis is not. Yeah, he's going to fight back though. He's coming back.
Look at these guys. They are Cialis bathtubs now, down into 3.
Seems like that higher line, you can stick with the driver on the inside, but eventually you're going to lose that spot to the driver on the inside. But if you can gain back on that driver and get on the inside, that's going to make that person. Oh, it looks like he hit the apron of the racetrack. Adam Blocker there, kind of washing up the racetrack. Here comes Otis on the inside with a heavy momentum off turn number 2. Side by side once again.
I almost wonder if maybe Joe Hassard is back there saving his stuff. We didn't think there was going to be much passing. That's not the case right now, as Blocker and Otis are putting on a show.
Putting on a show, and the guy that's in that popcorn position, if anything happens between those two cats, is going to be Big Joe Hassard.
Now, what's important is who leads across the start-finish line, and that time it's going to be Otis. No, that time it was Blocker. The low line was faster that time around. Look at the run from 2. Now covering the inside like wall-to-wall copper was Blocker there. He's not going to give Otis that inside line. Going to make it try it on the top side.
Blocker knows that outside line. Hey, I can stick with you on the outside line for a while, but I can't do it for long. But we do got a battle for 7th place on track. You talk to him, Pierre, night and day. Daigle.
Now he's got guys chasing him back there. That's the Candyman Wardlow on the inside. That's Bolster on the outside. But what Daigle has been able to do is come up on the back of Joe Branch. This is really a battle for 6th with the guys in behind trying to take advantage of that. Great battle for 6th. Great battle for 1st.
Oh, man, we got trouble. Turn 1. Big time trouble. Scott Bolster. Caution is out.
Just got into the back of Daigle. That was the thing we were just looking at. And Bolster turns over. No, it's the Candyman. Dustin Wardlow is actually on his lid. Bolster got into the back of Daigle. The car got loose and right into Wardlow, who had nowhere to go.
I'll be honest, there was slight contact with Dustin Wardlow and Galvin, but there is not really any sustainable damage on that 42 machine. If we can get on board of that, but we're going to get on board with Scott Bolster here first.
You can see he just got up and then he gets into, and then Moeller comes around and picks up either one of those cars. I don't think it must have been he picked up the Candyman's car. He got damaged as well. So 4 cars involved in that incident. We'll go on board with Galvin.
Now, Galvin, if anything, he might have minimum damage, but man, where do you go in this kind of incident?
Well, that's pretty good.
I didn't see any wing damage on the front of the race car.
What this means is everybody is coming in. This falls into the right in the pit window. Now, some of these guys might be faster who came in earlier. They might have fuel. They may not have to take as much fuel as the rest of these guys. We'll see how this plays out. We should be in the window now to go 1 stop from here.
Jason Galvin and Jordan Zaldo is going to remain on the racetrack as the first 2 drivers.
Yeah, they had made that stop earlier. I'm still not sure of the strategy of this because I really think you could go. We were told 60 laps as a stint. You double that, you get 120, add 131, or add 31 to it, and that gets you to 151. You should be able to go 1 stop from here.
I mean, these guys are going to have the bank it on a yellow.
We're going to go back and show you the replay from earlier. This involved Brian Greenlee, who was off the pace and then then Mark Omrick getting right up behind him, and this was a hard hit that took Omrick out. Now you'll see up ahead of them here, we're going to wait, you're going to see Greenlee get off pace, and Omrick gets into the back of him, and then the car right into the wall, and that's going to end his day. Omrick qualified in 23rd position, had gained a couple spots, was up inside the top 20 at the time of that incident. So, we got two cars out in front that I think if you're scoring at home or if you're watching alone, just Jason Galvin and George Anzaldo are both going to have to make two stops from here, unless Tanner has nailed it, unless we're looking at a yellow fest. Frank Beezer in good position, sitting in, I believe, first of the guys that can go one stop from here. Oh, no, let me correct myself. Beezer is a lap down. He's going to get the wave around. So is Greenlee. We have to go back to Ryan Otis. There we go. Fifth in line.
Very interesting, very interesting. But I think this is going to be playing well for Jason Galvin because this is track, but this is good for track position. And if we do get the yellow flags that these guys are hoping for, that's a good thing because that would just mean, okay, my strategy worked out good for that track position.
Well, he's got about 20 more laps than the rest of these guys, so maybe he thinks he can go, he would need to go 70 laps on a stint. Right now he's gone 21. He can go another 50. If he can get to lap 83, I guess we'd be maybe thinking that he might be able to do it.
I'll agree with that.
I guess these guys, the lap cars now, I got to correct myself because we're not within 10 laps. Those lap cars are locked in there, and we're talking about Frank Beezer and Ryan Otis, so that's a little more of an advantage for Galvin and Anzaldo. They got a couple cars as cushion behind them before they get to Otis and Big Joe Hazard.
Coming to the green flag here. Pace car is going to dart down pit road. Here we go. Back green flag racing. Big good jump by Jason Galvin to separate himself to George Anzaldo. We're back green flag racing.
Well, Lord knows in the first 34 laps, Jason Galvin has had a race full of action already with incidents all around him right now. He's got to be happy just to be out front and run some hot laps all by himself. He really starts to distance himself on George Anzaldo. That gap is almost up to a second. Anzaldo's got, those lap cars that were the cushion, they are long gone as Otis made short work of them. And now Ryan Otis looking to come up and get second place quickly on George Anzaldo.
Jake Wright battling side by side with Frank Beezer, but that Beezer's a lap car right now on the outside row, so Adam Blocker's right behind Wright.
Yeah. This is where we got to stay. We got to keep the camera back here. 5th, 6th, 7th. Jake Wright out in front, Blocker right behind him, but look what's going on behind him. That's on the inside, that's Joe Branch. On the top side of the blue car, that's Beezer. He's going to give up that spot. Micus gets that. Remember, Beezer is a lap down. Mike is now running in 8th. Now behind Beezer, he's got Pierre Nightingale trying to make a move underneath. Drew Motz, who we haven't talked about. Motz right behind Daigle, almost bump drafting him down the straight.
Here goes Ryan Otis trying to get by George Anzaldo. But here comes Big Joe Hazard splitting it 3 wide, thinking better of it through the dog leg.
So it didn't take long. Otis now up to 2nd. Anzaldo back to 3rd. Big Joe Hazard. Now remember, Anzaldo racing a little farther up than you would think. He qualified in 12th. He's up there thanks to pit strategy right now. Boy, that car gets really loose. And he's going to lose spot after spot after spot. Big Joe gets around him. Jake Wright gets around him. And here comes the car underneath. That is Adam Blocker.
Jake Wright getting underneath Big Joe, doing his best right there. Blocker successfully clears Anzaldo.
You can look up ahead from Blocker's car, those two cars that are side by side. Big Joe on the top side, Jake Wright underneath. Some great racing going on all the while. 1.6 seconds from Galvin to Otis. Otis is closing, but we don't have to go there yet.
Blocker's found a little momentum on that higher line, trying to pass Jake Wright.
Way, way, way better action than I ever thought we'd see here at Phoenix. Great racing.
How do we say Moeller? Happened to...
Oh, Mitchell Moeller actually got the car in the wall, spun it around all on his own. Then it drifts off into the grass. I guess that's why we don't get a yellow.
I'm surprised that didn't even come up to be a yellow.
It all depends what kind of night sleep the very fickle iRacing automated race stewards got last night. Apparently, they got a good night's sleep. They're not going to be quick to the yellow flag.
No, they are not. But everybody's pretty much kind of fanned out just a little bit, not seeing any kind of serious battles unless you really want to see Adam Blocker to go one-on-one with Big Joe Hazard.
As a rule, we like to work our way through the field, show you where some of the action is, not always focus up front, but right now the action up front is so intense. We'll get back there in a minute.
Oh, Big Joe.
Oh, look at that, yeah.
Yep, and we might see some 3-wide, probably not, but Big Joe Hazard, this might cost him at least 2 spots on the track.
That was a mistake. He lost momentum. He loses a spot to Blocker, and now he's trying to not make it any worse as Jake Wright looking to get underneath him.
Yep, side-by-side battle right there for 4th.
You can stay on this. I'll just tell you the gap remains the same, about 1.7 from Galvin back to Otis. Otis not able to close up as fast as I thought.
Yep, and just looking at the lap times just between the top 2 drivers, Galvin is just a bit quicker than Ryan Otis.
Well, if these guys will settle down a minute, how about we jump back to this battle? Let's go back to 8th position. It's a little train read by Pierre Degla. Not really that intense racing, but we can run down some of these drivers that haven't got much screen time yet. Drew Motz behind him in 9th. George Anzaldo. Now, we saw George. Remember, he started 2nd when we went green. He's fallen back to 10th. And Robert Bluen in 11th.
Kind of got to give a couple of shout-outs here, too, for some guys. I have a big mover so far. One of them is going to be Joe Branch. Started 13th, up there in 6th position so far. Another driver, you called him a couple of times here tonight, Soup, and that's going to be Pierre Daigle. Started 20th, up to 8th, sitting very consistent in the top 10 tonight. Drew Motz started 22nd, did not take a qualification time. He's already cracked the top 10, sitting in 9th. And another driver that did crack the top 10, but he's kind of falling back a little bit now, and that's Ian Adams. Started 24th and currently in 12th. So some guys moving up towards the front that started at least outside the top 20.
I almost wonder if Mott's not putting in that qualifying time said, you know, I'll just sit back here, stay out of the mess. I'm fast enough. I know I got a fast car. The race is long enough. There'll be enough yellows for me to get up there. And sure enough, right now he races in 9th position, still well within striking distance. Now, as much as I am impressed by what Jason Galvin is doing up front, I believe it's fool's gold. With all the green flag racing we're getting here, I believe he still has 2 more stops to make. Compared to Otis, Blocker, Hazard, Wright, all need only 1 more stop. Unless he can go, now sometimes the numbers they give us is not accurate, but this time my fuel mileage came from a really trusted source. And I heard 60 laps.
Yep, and I have the same statistics and stats of what you got here, Soup. It's going to be 60 laps stint. But I do have to consider the caution flag, though, of Jason Galvin.
Okay.
You could sit there in high gear, whatever gear that these guys can run, and just kind of ride around the racetrack, which saves you more fuel on the track. So, never know.
We have 14 cars on the lead lap. Samuel Ryman just went a lap down, and I believe now, let's see how far ahead of, it shouldn't be long here to these guys. Well, Ryman was well off the pace. I just saw him get lapped, so the car racing in 14th position may give him a little love light now. That's Matthew Mercer. He's coming up behind Travis Jägerlander. That's a battle for 13th. These guys are only about 10 seconds behind the lead car. So still over a half a lap before they get lapped.
Here's a pretty good battle back here. 11th, 12th, and 13th that were nose to tail entering the corner. They're kind of stringing out just a little bit here right now. Travis Jägerlander 13th. 12th is Ian Adams. Jordan Zaldo in 11th.
Yeah, and Zaldo, again, we mentioned it. He started up in the second row. Not going quite as well for him. going with those old tires as it was for his pit stop strategy buddy of Jason Galvin. Now keep in mind, Galvin qualified in 5th and Zaldo in 12th, so probably just by the nature of how fast they are, that's probably why it's not going as well. But if we can watch it on Zaldo right now, as he is being challenged by Adams. Actually, Adams has lost ground a little bit now, getting in their Jägerliner. This is a nice battle going on back here, Tanner, between Adams and Jägerliner and Mercer.
It definitely is. These guys have been kind of nose to tail, trying to find ways to pass each other up there. Actually, they're all on the lead lap. Mercer, yep. Jägerliner, and Adams. So tail end Charlie, with Mercer being the last driver on the lead lap, about 10 seconds behind the race leader.
Those 4 cars racing all by themselves. It's a long way up from Anzaldo. It's about, it's quite a while before you get up to the next driver he's racing with. And Zaldo's got about a second and a half to get to Bluen, racing in 10th. Well, Bluen and Mott's racing kind of by themselves in 9th and 10th. Go ahead.
Yeah, I'm kind of looking at a battle that wants to heat up, but Ryan Otis is not allowing that battle to heat up, but Adam Blocker wants to heat it up, and that's going to be a battle for second place. These guys are almost nose to tail with Adam Blocker, the huge run. Actually, Blocker gets closer and closer to Otis in 3 and 4.
Remember, these were the 2 cars that were battling for the lead before that last stop. It was Otis and Blocker putting on the show. Right now, they're still putting on a show, but they're 1.5 seconds behind Jason Galvin. Let's look at Galvin right now as he's working on getting around a car that's 2 laps down. That's Frank Beezer. Beezer gets out of the way.
Really would have thought that at least the lap traffic would slow down Galvin just a bit. If anything, it's only throwing him off by 1/10 of a second.
We'll see how the Beezer car plays when Otis and Blocker get up here. Good news for Frank is there's lots of racing line here. You can put the car, let's see if he decides to put the car up high or low. I think he's going to put it up on the top side. Let him come underneath you.
Probably, yeah.
Up. He had to bring it down in front of Blocker. Blocker's going to lose a little momentum there.
A little bit, but so with Beezer, he's going to drop back in the clutches of Big Joe. And just right behind Big Joe, could be battling for position, but he's not close enough to really battle, and that would be Jake Wright.
It's kind of a tough call if you're a back marker here. You want to keep a normal racing line and make the guys go so at least you know where you're going, but unfortunately you're making them go underneath you where it's not as fast.
And kind of looking at... Oh, go ahead there, Sue.
I'd almost be tempted if I were a back marker to take the inside line and let them have the top side so they can go around me with the momentum. We look at it, here they come. Jake Wright racing in 5th position.
And kind of keeping an eye on the differential between 1st and 2nd. Otis has been putting up another 10th on him. Now it's down to 1.4 seconds at the line. This time by would be about 1.4, but he did gain a couple hundredths of a second on Jason Galvin.
Beezer and Bolster do a good job of letting all the lead cars around. Bob Mikas running in 7th, clears them.
Yeah, you know, and it's kind of funny. I am seeing a bunch of different lines here, Soup. I don't know if you've been noticing it, but Otis has been kind of entering in high and exiting low, while Adam Blocker is kind of remaining in the middle groove of the racetrack. Now, turns 3 and 4, it's a little bit of a different story. Blocker gains on Otis. And actually, they're both taking a lower line, but Blocker gains on Otis in 3 and 4, but Otis gains that right back in 1 and 2. Kind of interesting.
I would think one of the reasons that that Galvin is so fast right now, even though his tires are older, I think that's outweighed by the lighter fuel load that he has in his car. I think he's happy to be a little bit lighter on older rubber.
Yeah, it definitely is by 20 laps approximately. So, and Jason Galvin, plus he had, without the lap traffic, he's had the clean air to work with as well. So, and he's able to run consistent lap times up towards the front. So that's a good advantage on Jason Galvin. Good point out.
Well, that's the good news. The bad news is right now as he crosses the line, he's been on these tires for 55 laps. Now, granted, a handful of those were under yellow. Let's give him an extra 5 laps. I think he's got to come in the next 10 laps.
I'm going to say at least 10 to 15 laps. I'm going to kind of wait and see what happens along those lines. Another driver that's going to have to visit pit road is one of those drivers that are on the same strategy as Jason Galvin, and that's Jordan Zaldo, who's already lost pretty much all them spots. And he's back up there in the 11th position, still remaining on the track.
Yeah, and Zaldo can be like the canary in the coal mine. If we see him come in, then we know that pretty soon Galvin's going to have to come in as well.
Who knows? He might strike gold today.
Samuel Ryman getting around, keeping an outside line as he lets Otis get underneath him. Blocker does as well. There's your two cars that are the cream of the crop right now, Otis and Blocker. They've been out in front early, and even though they're running second and third, I think they're in pretty good shape. They got to be feeling pretty confident about their chances of getting a checkered flag here between one of the two of them.
Beezer's getting passed by race leader Jake Wright. And I tell you what, look at the times here, Soup. I've been kind of keeping an eye on it. Here comes Otis. Oh, Mott's trouble. Caution's out. Drew Mott's. Oh, upside down in turns 1 and 2. Third caution of the evening. Actually, he just gets loose on entrance of the corner.
This is fascinating. Bad news for Mott's. Gotta be good news for Galvin, who had to come in. But we are sitting here with lap 71, 69 to go. This is outside the window, maybe.
Man, he played that. He played it. If they all pit right now, he played it just right. And I called it.
Well, again, though, I wonder if he comes in. I'm not sure he's in his window. I think they all have to come in. Let's see.
Uh-oh. Interesting. Very, very interesting. Just because that was the longest green flag stint of the night.
They can't do it. I agree. There's no reason for Otis to come in. It's not within the window. They will stay out. Now, they can only go about another 20 laps, and they will come in.
Yeah, this is, I kind of agree with the call on Ryan Otis, because right now, this is kind of an interesting time for a caution to come out, because it's 79 laps to go as we speak. And you're taking a pit stop right now, and according to our notes, it's only 60 laps on a stint of fuel. I think you're kind of banking on a couple cautions to save that amount of fuel. I mean, that's just one man's opinion, but...
Yep. What we'll do is we'll take a short break. Tanner and I will discuss this strategy amongst ourselves with our director. We'll come back to you and we'll have it all sorted out. Back in a few. From Phoenix International Raceway, welcome back to the Global Sim Racing Channel's coverage of the Foyt Retro Indy Phoenix, the penultimate round on the Lionheart Retro Series schedule. It's all about strategy right now. You have one man traveling the road less traveled, and that is Ryan Otis, who has decided to stay out. He's out in front. He'll be fast with light fuel. What worries Tanner and I is that he's going to run out of fuel and maybe be forced to make a green flag pit stop. That could end his day.
Well, that put Jason Galvin in good hands as far as track position is concerned, but we're back green flag racing now. It's just a matter of we're going to remain green or are we going to get some kind of caution flag to help Ryan Otis. We're going to find that out as here comes Jason Galvin already.
Well, one thing I think, Otis is on older tires, but again, he's on lighter fuel with clear air in front of him. He's already knowing he's fast, second fastest qualifier. Look for him to run away from Galvin right now. Galvin back there racing with Blocker. Blocker, remember, he was paired up with Otis the whole time. Blocker came in for a stop. Otis stayed out. He's the only driver out there on old tires and light fuel. I say he has 15 laps before, let's give him an extra 5. 20 laps before he has to come in. 13 cars on the lead lap.
Yeah, and that's if we remain green flag racing, which we just seen our longest green flag stint of the evening tonight.
We talked about hard chargers. Your biggest mover right now in 10th position as he goes around the lap car of Frank Beezer is Ian Adams. He started in 24th position, did not put in a qualifying time, up 14 spots. Next on his parade of hit lists are Robert Bluen. That'll be for position, so we'll keep an eye on Ian Adams.
Everybody kind of single file just a little bit here, but here comes Adam Blocker. Getting ready to shape up, getting closer and closer to Jason Galvin for a P2 battle. Oh, wow, was that a snap loose just a little bit on a straightaway?
Galvin racing in second, the interval to the leader 1.1 second. We'll watch that gap for you. We'll see if it increases. Another disadvantage to Otis is, even though he's faster with light fuel, that means he'll need to take more fuel. His pit stop will be longer than the guys behind him. And right now, look at this battle for second. There goes the blue car underneath Foyt. Almost it gets into the fluorescent yellow and green machine of Galvin. He gets off of it. Galvin able to hang on to second. Blocker falls back to third. That was a close one.
Man, I wish I wish this was Mario Kart to throw a banana peel out there on that blue car because he's just bad fast no matter where he goes, and he wants that second spot. Looking towards the outside now, down in turn number 1, side by side with Galvin. Galvin's going to get a nice run through the corner of the racetrack up turns 1 and 2, but here comes Blocker right on back, getting into that draft, sucking him up to that back bumper of the car.
There are on occasions now Blockers committed to the top side. Watch as they go down the main straight. Blocker will bob and weave the car back and forth, not showing his hand. He said, I'm taking the outside now. Galvin just hanging on a straight line.
Oh,
look at the run that Blocker gets Galvin royally. Woo-hoo-hoo.
Oh, boy, that got scary.
And Tanner, all the momentum that Galvin lost puts him right back into the clutches of Jake Wright.
It definitely does, and hopefully this does not bite Jason Galvin because you got to remember, early in the race, same scenario cost Galvin a lot of spots on the racetrack.
For what it's worth, Ryan Otis has doubled that interval now. It was 1 second, it's now up to 2 seconds.
I'm seeing Galvin blinking just a little bit there. That ain't good.
Now with Blocker around Galvin, next to is going to be Jake Wright. Jake looks frisky like he wants that spot. 13 cars on the lead lap right now.
There goes Jake Wright. Caution is on the speedway. Is it Beezer?
Frank Beezer.
I think he's one of them cars again, down in turn number 1 that just gets loose on entry of the corner, and a caution for the 4th time this evening. So this will help Ryan Otis, but I think he might be the only guy on pit road, though.
I don't think he's coming in. I think he's in for a penny. He's in for a pound. I don't think we're going to see him until lap 90. I could be wrong, but I mean, I see no point to come in now. You still can't get there. You played your hand the first time. Let's see if he stays out. If he comes in, he's going to cycle way back because, well, let's see. Nope, he's going to stay out.
We got a couple takers here. Big Joe's one of them. Joe Branch, Robert Bluen, Matthew Mercer, George Anzaldo, Travis Jägerliner. Very interesting call. And correct me if I'm wrong, Soup. All the other drivers other than Ryan Otis that's came in the last caution will have to at least make one more pit stop, if I'm not mistaken, correct?
And I believe these guys will have to make one more pit stop too, the guys who've come in, unless there's enough yellow flags, maybe 2 or 3 yellows, and these guys can go the distance. They get track position that way. Yeah, I believe all the cars need to come in. Otis, Blocker, Galvin, Wright, those guys all need to come in one more time. These guys coming in now should have to come in one more time, unless there's a lot of yellow flags.
So far, it's been pretty good on caution flags. So far, just four cautions for 14 laps. And all those drivers who just pitted under this caution have already caught up to the tail end of the field. And this kind of gives them the opportunity to save a little gas under this caution.
The leader of this group would be Big Joe Hazard. These are the guys, we'll call them the late pitters. Big Joe Hazard, Joe Branch, Bluen, Mercer, and Zaldo, and Jägerliner. From 8th back to 13th. So now we have drivers on 3 strategies. You have Ryan Otis, who's going to have to come in pretty darn soon. But when he does come in, he should be able to go the distance. You got Blocker, Galvin, Wright, Micus, Dagla, and Adams, 2nd through 7th. They can go a little bit longer, but they'll need to come in for a splash and go. And then you got those guys back there right now that have a chance to go if everything falls their way. 87 laps, they need a ton of yellows.
Yeah, this has got my head spinning, my calculator rumbling. So we're gonna have to see how this is all gonna play out. I like the Ryan Otis call right here. If he can pit with the good drivers behind him, that'd be great. But Galvin's going on pit road.
Obviously watching the broadcast and has decided that Soup's on to something here.
George Anzaldo coming back on there to top off on fuel. Travis Jägerliner, Robert Bluen.
Right. These are the guys that came in last time. They're looking to go on no stops from here. So they came in for the most amount of fuel they can get. Try to go. How many laps would it be from here? They have we're on lap 88 of 150. So what does that mean? Well, they're real close though, right? Isn't that's 62 laps from here, right?
They're gonna make they're banking this is near their last stop because we get another
62.
caution, they can just stay out and just save that gas.
That's it. It's all about saving fuel.
I can see this happening. This is gonna be interesting.
The lights are off. I think you can probably nurse another 2 laps out of it.
Probably
without. We'll see how that plays out. All right, Ryan Otis leads them away. His tank is about as empty as a syrup bottle after a pancake social. He's going to have to come in pretty darn soon. He's been out there for 58 laps. Behind him is Blocker. He can go for a while. As can Wright and Micus.
Here comes Blocker. Ooh, baby.
Otis has to be careful. He may want to protect that inside line just to make sure he's not caught out on the outside when it's pit stop time.
He definitely isn't, and so far he's at pretty much. At the same time, he's trying to conserve, but he's trying to play defense mode as well.
He's within the window now. He can come in anytime and get to the end. He probably doesn't want to have to pit under green, so he'll stay out as long as he can. Hope for a yellow.
Caution!
There's the yellow.
Dylan McKenna. Oh boy, and I think another driver, Travis Jägerliner, who just pitted. Like there was more contact with other drivers, not just McKenna. I think Galvin almost got into that.
We're gonna go on board with Travis Jägerliner. He was involved.
Matthew Mercer's the driver that got tapped in the bumper. Wow. Do you see Jason Galvin, how he got through that?
Boy, he has been... Yeah, Jägerliner sure didn't. Galvin has been dodging bullets left and right. We'll go on board with the Bakersfield driver.
I tell you what, folks, if any of you guys watch NASCAR this past weekend at Talladega, Jason Galvin is the Dale Earnhardt Jr. of Lionheart Retro Series on avoiding wrecks like this.
Okay,
wow.
Here they come for stops. Otis has come in. Blocker has come in. I would expect everybody to come in. I don't understand why Micus and Adams have decided to stay out. That makes no sense to me.
Well, who knows? They might come in next time by, or at least on the one to go, very much like Galvin did.
Well, they should be able to get there from here. There's no reason to save now. The only people who I would think would have stayed out were those guys who topped off, like Hassard and Branch. These make sense. Galvin and Zaldo, they've decided to stay out. Remember, we talked to them having to go 62 laps on a fuel run. Well, now they've had this yellow flag. They should be able to get there. This yellow played out perfect for them. Micus and Adams, I don't get their strategy right now. We'll take another short break, and we'll be back in just a few minutes to bring you probably the last green flag run. From Phoenix International Raceway, welcome back to the Global SimRacing Channel's coverage of the Point Retro Indy Phoenix, the penultimate round on the Lionheart Retro Series schedule. It was 1979 when Mario Andretti took this car to a championship in Formula One. How about a close-up there of the car that's leading right now? Bob Micus racing in a machine that looks a lot like that car that Mario Andretti drove. We don't believe that Micus and the man behind him, Ian Adams, can go the distance. But right now, the Vaughn Hansen's meat man, Bob Micus, takes that car into the first corner, and he's going to lead him. Ian Adams is going to be in second. Enjoy it while it lasts, boys. They've been out there for 24 laps. Look for them to come in with about 10 laps to go. The real battle is going to be behind these guys. Go ahead, Tanner.
Otis is in the middle, like, stuck. There was a traffic jam. Oh, look at these guys. Man, who else is back there in that Monster Energy car? That was Pierre Night and Day Daigle. Oh, my goodness. These guys were all over each other through that dog leg. Sorry to interrupt you there, Soup.
No, that's what you're here for. Keep me from rambling on. Daigle up in 10th position. We're looking at him right now. Otis now in 9th, right, or in 8th, right in 9th. Now these guys can all go the distance. We'll talk pit strategy when things settle down a bit.
Oh, something's
We
happening
have
to
a car
Jason
way off the
Galvin.
pace. Galvin. Oh, I think he just had to check up. He was getting into the back of Joe Branch, and there's just one more bullet that Galvin has dodged. Jason, the bullet god dodger Galvin right now. And right now, it's not over as he's...
I don't know.
Galvin right now is in another dogfight. He's in there with George and Zaldo and Adam Blocker.
Yeah, speaking of Blocker, I mean, I don't know if I would have thrown a block on a guy that has a last name Blocker but down in turn 1 like that, but that got hairy.
Big Joe Hassard has got around Ian Adams into second. Hassard is a legitimate speedster that can go the distance. Remember, Hassard was one of the cars that came in and topped off with 62 to go. Too far to go, 62 laps if you have a green flag run, but then the caution came out. That allowed Otis to come in and get his fuel. Blocker came in too. Those guys who topped off, that was the yellow that they needed. We think that they can go the distance.
And let's keep in mind, this is a teammate, the Jake Wright for No Name Racing, Big Joe Hazard, and Joe has yet to visit Victory Lane this season, so this could be the day today.
Another guy we think can go the distance is racing in 4th right now, Joe Branch. A pair of Joes out front, running 1-2, I think. Yes, Bob Mikas is your leader, but I think, again, it's going to be short-lived, as is Ian Adams' 3rd place position. So how about the guys who've been running up front the whole time? The guys who've been the stars of the show, Blocker and Otis, where are they? 6 and 7. Oh, and there goes Galvin! Right in front of Blocker. No caution because I think the incident cap might have blinked him away.
You may be right.
You can only dodge so many bullets, and finally one caught the heart.
We remain green flag racing though, and Big Joe Hazard kind of gained a little bit, little by little, on Bob Mikas up here.
The incident cap saved the yellow flag, I believe.
That made me jump out of my seat.
Right in front of Blocker, who was making a move. So what does
Caution!
that mean?
Yellow
Beezer.
flag on the speedway. Frank Beezer.
Oh, and Sam Ryman, trying to avoid Beezer, locked it up and put the right front into the wall.
And this is a lot of spin outs today for Frank Beezer here in Phoenix.
Yeah, you took the words right out of my... I was checking my clipboard to see. Seemed like I had his name a lot down there. Going right on board with GSRC's own Samuel Ryman on the GSRC onboard camera. Oh, and there goes the front right suspension into the Phoenix wall.
Seen it coming, just had to hit the wall to try to avoid Beezer.
There's a lot of talk about walls in Arizona right now, and I guess Samuel Ryman got a taste of it.
All right, pit road is open this time by. There is absolutely no takers.
I don't understand Bob Mikas unless he's just hoping for yellow after yellow, and he's going to go some incredible amount of distance.
Tell you what, Ian Adams is one of those drivers that is on the same strategy that is on Bob Mikas' strategy here, so Adams is going to remain in 4th.
He's been out there for 35 laps, Bob Mikas. There are 44 to go. My math tells me that's an 80-lap stint. But he's been out there for 2 yellows for sure, so maybe he's just hoping for rivers in China, ribbons around Old Oak Tree and Cowardice. Lots of things that are yellow.
Oh, this is an interesting call, but this kind of brings... the problem is this brings everybody into the mix once again here. So we've had a crazy restart in the dog leg. Oh, this is getting exciting.
Yeah, probably bad news for Michaels because now not only does he have to hope to get there, but he's got to try to. It brings Blocker and Otis that much closer. Blocker in 5th, Otis in 6th. They have been the cars to beat all race.
George Anzaldo makes a trip down pit road along with Travis Jägerliner.
Those guys were at the back of the pack anyway. I imagine they will come in for tires only. No need to take any more fuel, make the car heavier than they need to, but they can go ahead and put some fresh rubber on that. Won't cost them any positions as there are 11 cars on the lead lap. Car running in 12th is 2 laps down. That is Scott Bolster.
We should see the 1 to go signal this time by when they hit the start-finish line. Bob Mikas, Big Joe Hazard, Joe Branch, Ian Adams, and Adam Blocker, that top 5. Now, Adam Blocker and Ryan Otis would have been 6th and 7th, but Galvin had a misfortune accident off of turn number 2. That'll give a spot up right there. So, and Jake Wright's now in 7th. Here, Daigle is in 8th, 9th, Robert Bluen, and Anzaldo rounding up that top 10. Interesting call on Bob Mikas and Ian Adams' part on the racetrack.
Obviously, I think they're just looking for some love from GSRC. Bob Mikas, associated with Von Hansen's Meats, not a sponsor in today's race as he's racing in the Players Machine, but always good.
Well, heck, if Bob Mikas is able to pull this out, man, I'm going to have to buy him a steak dinner.
No, he won't need a steak dinner. He's got to buy him the vegetables and buy him a piece of apple pie to go along with it. That's what he needs.
Oh, Lord.
Ian Adams in the same situation in 4th right now. All right, Bob, let's see what you can do up there, Mr. Mikas, in that John Player Special. Pace car is going to pull in this time. And the number 17 is on the throttle, and he gets a good jump.
I was just about to say, gather up the chickens, take cover behind the cows. Are you going to make it? Let's go, Bob Mikas. Got Big Joe Hazard not too far along, trying to use that draft that gets sucked up to his rear end there. Entering turn number 3. Gosh, he gets really close. Not enough to make a pass, though. But he's closer than ever before. Bobbles off of turn number 4. Here comes Big Joe Hazard along the outside. Ooh, kind of slams a Joe on Big Joe, which causes him to check up down in turn number 1. Here comes Big Joe Hazard. He wants to try again, utilizing that draft through the dogleg. Looking towards the inside on Bob Mikas.
Can he make it stick down low? It doesn't look like it, and he's going to lose momentum. He's going to give it to Joe Branch now.
Here comes Branch on the inside of Big Joe. Big Joe could not complete a pass on the race leader of Mikas. Car almost in the wall back there. I think that was the car that was in 4th. That would have been Ian Adams. He's under attack from Adam Blocker.
Blocker and Otis need to know they have to get going here. Time is running out. Mikas up in front trying to pick with Joe to block. Right now he's got Hazard behind him. Branch in 3rd. Look back to, here comes Blocker now, trying to make a move underneath Adams. This is a very key pass. That blue car has got to make short work of Adams so he can get up and race for the lead. Adam fends him off.
Adams is doing everything he can. He's on defense mode. He's trying to hold off Adam Blocker. He knows Blocker's been one of the top guys in the field today. And Adams, this is kind of a good opportunity for him, but the question is he was one of those drivers that can make it on fuel. He's in the same boat as Bob Mikas.
Yeah, he needs a yellow flag right now.
And he doesn't want to be the yellow flag.
Mikas able to hold off the Joes up front. They are 2 and 3 car lengths back. Adams sitting in 4th. Blocker made a run at Adams, couldn't get it done. Otis can't get around anybody. They're racing single file right now. Don't forget about Jake Wright. He's in 7th. Dagla, Bluen in 8th and 9th. And Zaldo in 10th. 11 cars on the lead lap, the last one being Travis Jägerliner. And Zaldo and Jägerliner with fresh rubber, but they don't seem to have the pace to race up with the big boys. Bob Mikas working on 44 laps on these tires on this fuel.
Here comes Blocker right underneath on entrance. Try to make a pass on the entrance of the corner. Ain't going to stick for Adam Blocker. Ian Adams successfully holds on to his position of 4th.
Keep in mind, Adams may not be as fast, all things being equal, but that tank is really light right now. That car has got to be a lot lighter and a lot faster as Blocker's trying to do it with a heavier machine. Blocker closing in on him. Not going to be able to get it done right now. They continue to race in a parade.
Good run through the corner, 3 and 4 by Ian Adams there. I'm surprised. That lighter fuel tank has to be helping him out. Down to 30 laps to go here. Caution is out on the speedway. Frank Beezer again.
I'm running out of checked areas in Beezer's little column here. Frank, I love you, but buddy, be kind, Soup. Be kind. How can I phrase this? You're 6 laps off the pace. We have 32 laps of racing to go. Put in the laps, but keep it going straight.
Well, if anything, it is helping Bob Mikas and Ian Adams.
Bob Mikas, he's going to have a different opinion about this. He is Frank Beezer's biggest fan right now. Mikas and Ian Adams saying, you keep out there, Frank. Spin it around as many times as you can.
Yeah, I agree. I think Bob Mikas is a big old Frank Beezer fan right now.
Yeah, I think so.
Well, I hope you have that delivery in check to send it to Frank Beezer on that Von Hansen meats right there.
I've been getting some jerky in the mail, I think.
There we go.
Bob Mikas out in front. He has been racing for 48 laps. Well, I'm getting to the point now where he might be able to get there. 12 more laps would be a stint. That would be 60, so that would put him at about 19 to go, and then Lord knows we've had at least 3 cautions.
Well, let's see. Let's kind of do the math here, including caution flags. So I'm going to guess that you're saving the gas under caution, so I'm going to kind of cut that down. I'm going to erase the 49 laps out there, coming to 50 laps so far. I'm going to throw about 6 laps onto that fuel tank right there, so I'm going to say about 46 laps. You got 30 laps to go. That's pushing it.
Yeah, but here's the good news for him. Beezer didn't hit the wall, so he's still out there racing. So there's opportunity for more yellow.
There is, but what's the incident cap on Beezer?
Okay, that's a good point. Oh, Frank, we love you, buddy. Don't.
We
Frank
love
is
you
in
there,
the
Frank.
pits right now. Don't be cranky, Frank. We love you. We're gonna go on board with Frank Beezer right now. Oh, with Bolster, sorry. This is what our director has found. And we're looking up ahead. I imagine this is the car we're going to see spinning here.
Yeah, I think right there, he just tapped the outside wall, sends him around. Woo!
And we come back live.
Well, one thing I haven't really been checking, but now I just realized this now. There's only 11 cars on the lead lap, with Travis Jägerliner being tail end Charlie on that lead lap with some damage, but hanging in there nice.
All right, 29 laps to go. The lights are off. The pace car will have 28 when they cross the line. Robert Mikas is your leader. Big Joe Hassard behind him. Joe Branch in third. Both of those Joes were making attacks at Bob. Mikas's car has got to be lighter. It might be too light. Can he get to the end from here?
I don't know. He was under pressure in the first opening restart laps last time from Big Joe and Joe Branch. See what happens here.
The 2 cars that have been fastest all race, Blocker and Otis, unable to make up any ground at all. Pace car is in.
Play, good jump by Bob Mikas. Big Joe do anything with Mikas, or can Joe Branch come in? Here comes Ian Adams on the higher line of the racetrack. Not going to make a pass. Single file. Oh, here comes Ian right now underneath Branch.
I think the run off of 2, he's going to get it. He's going to dive it in deep into 3. Let's move Ian Adams up to 3rd. Oh, a little hucklebuck, a little hokey-doke, a little upsy-dipsy-doo.
Ooh, yeah, when you said upsy-dipsy-doo, he hit the wall. I think
watching the whole thing. Blocker and Otis looking for any way that they can get up there. My car is fast if I can get some clear air. Man in clean air right now is Bob Mikas.
Definitely is. Oh, Branch kind of pushing up just a little bit. A bunch of guys kind of pushing up. They maintain their track on position. Oh, come on, cats. Easy.
Yoo-hoo.
And, oh, here comes Adam Blocker trying to get underneath Adam Adams.
Blocker has got to be losing patience.
He has to be. He's been working on...
Now they work on Branch. They're too wide in front of Blocker. There's no track space for Blocker to go anywhere.
They had a pretty good... they're both pretty even off turn number 2. Side by side, enter turn 3. The bottom line's been the way to go. Oh, look at that. Nice. Very nice pass. Textbook pass by Ian Adams on Joe Branch. That's going to cost Joe Branch some spots in the track because here comes Adam Blocker. Oh, Blocker. Oh, Blocker.
Branch tried to make it stick underneath, had to get off the throttle, and that cost him the position, then almost a pot to Blocker. Then Blocker had to lift up, and that gives... And now, here comes the car of Brian Otis. We haven't heard from Otis in a while. Otis is up to 5th. He's out there in that marble-colored machine.
Man, from Joe Branch on back, them cats are just all over each other. There's Otis in that mix, and Blocker, Wright's back there, and Pierre Daigel's kind of back there with all this action in front of him.
All that going on. Bob Mikas is back there yelling, "Mix it up, boys. Go ahead and get together. Put one in the wall. That's okay with me." The more yellows, the better. Oh, Ian Adams almost gets the wall.
You're calling it, Soup. You're calling it. Oh, man. Ian Adams has been flirting with that outside wall for a little while now, but, man, the kid's fast. He's going places. It's just the thing is he's on the same strategy as Mikas, and P6 is going up for grabs.
Otis working to get around Wright. Wright and Otis side by side. Wright would like to get that position. Otis moved up to 6. Wright would like to get one. Watching the whole thing is Pierre Daigle behind him. The racing is heating up right now as people are starting to dive the car in deep.
Kind of championship implications right there between Otis and Wright, because the more Otis picks up on track position and Wright does not, that's championship points right there.
Mike is still out in front. Oh, again, taking the really high line up there is Ian Adams. He gets good momentum off of 4. You have to kind of look around, look for the guy who gets the run, who's going to dive it in.
Yeah, right now, Ian Adams is under attack now. Here comes Joe Branch.
Here comes Joe Branch. He drives it in deeper than Confucius in a submarine. Can he make it stick? Yes, he does, but now making a run back behind him is Ian Adams. Adams now on the inside. They'll be side by side. Adams is going to get the position back.
He dove bomb one and made it stick, too, man. That was a good pass by Adams around Joe Branch. Very, very much what Joe Branch did to him down in 3 and 4.
61 laps on this stint so far for Bob Mikas.
Oh, Branch kind of lost a little momentum off the exit of the corner. Here comes Blocker. Blocker is going to try it. He's going to actually utilize the bank and try to dive bomb it. Does not make it step that time by.
He can get out in front, but he can't get the drive off the corner. That's Ryman down below on the apron. Adams in 3rd. Look at this battle for 4th now. This is Branch. Blocker in the blue car looking for a way to get. He'll try the top side this time.
Oh, Adams lost.
He's going to have to split him. That's Ian Adams on the low side. The top car is a lap down of Dylan McKenna. McKenna does a good job of getting out of the way.
And Adams still able to hold a spot. Here comes the battle for the lead. Big Joe has it, and Bob Mikus.
Oh, Hazard is
Oh,
loose.
that's a
Hazard
big
is in
crash.
the wall. He collects blocker. Spinning also is Otis.
Oh, many cars involved in this one.
Jake Wright does an amazing job of driving through the carnage.
Oh, Jake Wright. Oh, Big Joe Hazard just got loose on the edge of the corner. Ryan Otis gets a huge lick.
Hazard trying to make the move on the top side of Mikus, and the car just gets away from him. We'll ride on board with Ryan Otis. He's caught up in this one.
He's caught up, but he didn't hit anything. He may have spun out, but he didn't hit a thing. He went directly underneath Big Joe.
If we can take one more look, how about on board with Jake Wright? Jake Wright pretty much parks the car, waves at Ryan Otis, I believe, and somehow manages to hit nothing.
Wow, I sure hope Jake Wright's got 3 screens. Wow.
Look at this. There's smoke everywhere. Takes it to the grass, and there's a car in front of him.
And now you know why I think he may have 3 screens. Holy cow.
Gotta be. Now, this is interesting. Ian Adams has to come in with 13 to go. He's on the same strategy as Bob Mikus.
I think Adams may have some damage, though, does he?
Oh, that's probably why. Yes. Good call, Tanner.
I have to look back just to see how bad the damage was.
This is great news. Bad news for everybody else, but Bob Mikus is saying, okay, more yellows. I'm on lap 66 of this stint.
Okay, now here's the thing. There's no serious damage on Ian Adams. So why he came in, I'm not 100% sure. But now with that being said, Bob Mikus is the only one on the unusual strategy. But hey, it has so far worked out in his favor.
If Ian Adams says, I cannot get there, there's no way I can get there, this is the time to come in. He's only going to lose a couple spots. I mean, there's only 9 cars on the lead lap right now. I mean, if you come in, you're still going to get all the way in the back. In fact, come in, get fresh rubber and just a little bit of fuel. Maybe you have enough time to get up there. Bob Mikus. The only car in front of him right now is the pace car.
And the worst this will throw Ian Adams will be 9th.
Now, Blocker is in 2nd. I thought I gave his name as getting caught up in that, but I guess I misspoke.
Joe Branch, because they kind of got similar cars.
Yeah, I'll double check on Blocker,
Yep.
make sure he got through there clean.
You're right. Blocker, he's staying out, but he does have damage.
There we go. So you have Bob Mikus in front, a car that's healthy, but running out of petrol. You got the fastest car all race, Adam Blocker behind him.
Mikus is in.
No, he's not.
Oh no,
He fooled you.
This is what I get for being on rear chase camera.
He fooled you.
He did.
That's not nice to the commentator.
I'm on a bunch of different camera angles here, and I just happened to be on Mikus's rear chase. It's
well, he was
left to go in.
He was going towards the pit stops. He just wanted to fool Tanner.
Bob, you're the psychic of me. You know what I'm on.
So Mike is out in front on low fuel. Blocker, the fastest car of the race, sitting back there, but he's got damage. Jake Wright, the multi-time champion, in 3rd with a clean car.
Well, if anything, he is going to be the Iron Man, because I am looking at the fire suit of Bob Mikus, his virtual fire suit. It is an Iron Man fire suit. Kind of cool.
We'll have 10 laps to go as he crosses the line.
We're green now, but here we go. I'm kind of worried about that damage of Blocker. Is it going to hurt him? It doesn't look like it's going to be so far.
10 laps, 10 miles in the desert. Bob Mikas, the car really light right now. Blocker making a run on the top side. The car has some damage. He should be able to get some momentum off of 4. Mikas takes the car really low. He's able to hold him off. 9 to go. The guy you got to watch out for is Jake Wright back in 3rd. There's a great battle for 4th. Daigle, Bluin, and Otis. Going into 3, Mikas able to hold off Blocker for now.
I don't know. Blocker's doing an excellent job on keeping up with Bob Mikas with despite that damage on the front end of the race car. But so far, Mikas really dives in turn 1, separates a gap between him and Blocker.
Mikas out of 2 now as they head down into 3. Here comes Blocker. Mikas trying to make that car as wide as a Julia Roberts smile. A good run now from Blocker.
There we
go
go.
to the low side.
Gonna try that inside. Didn't work on other drivers, but maybe that damage can help him out just a little bit. Does not complete the pass. Is Mikas clear? I don't think he's cleared. Yeah, he is. Now he is. He's gonna come back down towards the inside. Mikas very well aware of it. I think he might complete the pass on Mikas. Oh, ever so close.
Well, he's going to get credit for leading the lap. No, it still goes to Mikas right now. Now look at the run that Mikas gets off of 2. You can only make it stick down there so many times. The tires heat up. Blocker has to back out.
1,000th of a second, Mikas led that last lap by. And here comes Adam Blocker once again off the high side. Can he make the run? He's starting to get the run, but he ain't going to beat Mikas to the line. Here comes towards the inside once again. Sitting in the catbird seat in that 3rd spot back there is Jake Wright.
Leading this lap is really important because it gets you to the point of no return. If you can lead after 4 with 4 to go, then if a yellow flag comes out, you're going to get the race. Right now, they got a touch. No,
Oh,
they're
that
okay.
might be a
Mikas able to
mistake.
keep the car going straight. The momentum for Blocker. Blocker's going to get credit with leading the lap. But Mikas has the momentum on the top side. They go into 1 like Cialis bathtubs. Watch the momentum that the player's car gets off of 2. He's moved up to about a half a car length lead. Wright cannot find anywhere to go. He's just back there watching the show right now. Blocker on the low side. He's going to finish the pass. Will he be able to close the door? He
got him! Oh no, but a little tap and a bump. He got him. That was hard work.
Now Blocker is out in front. Mikas is going to have a much harder time keeping up there. His car is not fast as a rule. It's great under clean air, but I don't think he can do it right now. Getting out in front is great for Blocker. He should be able to hold it. Blocker's biggest worry is coming from 3rd position. Here comes Jake Wright. Jake has nothing for Mikas. Mikas out there, he's got to be racing with one eye ahead, one eye behind, and the other eye on the fuel gauge.
Oh, he's out of gas!
That's it. He's out of fuel.
gas! He's out of gas!
Blocker
To the
comes
white
across.
flag.
One more yellow would have won it for Bob Mikas, but it didn't come. White flag lap. Here we go. It's about 3 car lengths from Blocker back to Wright. Wright trying to do everything he can. He's closing the gap. He'll have 2 more corners to do it. I don't know if he has enough time to get there. Coming out of 4. AJ Foyt would be proud as Adam Blocker wins the Lionheart Retro Series.
Ooh,
Jake
what a
Wright
race.
gets 2nd.
What a race. What a finish. Wow.
Ten cars on the lead lap, and we're looking at Bob Mikas, and I guess that's him lifting the car across the line. Last on the lead lap. Pierre Nightingale coming home on the final podium spot.
78 laps, including caution flags, he made that on.
Well, the racing is over here in Phoenix, but the broadcast is far from done. We're going to take a short break, then we will come back to run down the finishing order, talk to some of the drivers before we put a lock on the gate here in Phoenix. Back in a few. From the desert and Phoenix International Raceway, welcome back to the Global Sim Racing Channel's coverage of the Point Retro Indy Phoenix, the next to last round in the Lionheart Retro Series schedule. And the official standings are in, and we had an exciting one. Let's go ahead and give you that right now. Your winner, Adam Blocker. He comes home a tenth of a second ahead of Jake Wright. Pierre Nightingale in third. Ryan Otis, one of the fastest cars out there all race, could only muster up fourth position. Joe Branch, one of the Joes that put on a good show, in fifth position. Robert Bluen. Ian Adams comes home in seventh. George Anzaldo in eighth. Ninth position to Travis Jaegerliner. And then a man who went 58 laps. No, let me correct myself. How long did we say that was? 78 laps is our fuel stint for Bob Mikas as he comes up just one lap short as he finishes in 10th.
Yeah, and finishing outside that top 10 and 11th, 2 laps down, Scott Bolster, Dylan McKenna. Very own Samuel Ryman's going to finish in 13th. Big Joe Hazard almost was going to make a trip to victory lane on a pass for the race lead. He'll have to settle for a 14th place finish. Frank Beezer tonight, multiple incidents tonight, will round off in 15th. Jason Galvin in 16th. Matthew Mercer in 17th. Drew Motz in 18th. 19th, Mitchell Moeller. And rounding out that top 20, Brian Greenlee.
And then in 21st position, I got it there. I was doing a little studying. We got Dustin Wardlow, Mark Omrick in 22nd. Tony Shallen, Ron Hacker, Chris Stouffer, and Dave Cordy round out the 26 drivers. Okay, our winner has come into the booth, so we'll let Tanner talk to him, and that is Adam Blocker, who made that last pass. Go ahead, Tanner.
Yeah, I've caught up with Adam Blocker. First off, Adam, congratulations on the win tonight, and I do have to ask you, did you sustain any kind of damage after pretty much doing a head-on hit with Big Joe Hazard in that final caution?
Well, Bob Mikas just told me that I had a little bit of wing damage, but I didn't notice anything when I was driving it. And I didn't get a 0x or a 4x when I did that. So, I thought I was screwed because he went straight through my driver's head. So, I don't know how I got away with that, but I did. And, it just worked out, I guess.
Well, good thing this is the virtual world, but I tell you what, at least on my screen, you had some left front wing damage, but on the director's chair side, you didn't really have any. If anything, it was very, very minor. So, but nonetheless, you get the victory today here at Phoenix, and you've been on a roll ever since you stepped foot in the Lionheart Retro Series back in Milwaukee. That was way back in June. You had a great showing back then, and you're strong wherever you go. What are your thoughts so far on everything you ran in the Lionheart Retro Series?
I don't know. It's been crazy. I for some reason, I just really like this car, and my driving style really suits it. I think on the road courses, I tend to overdrive cars more than anything, and with this car, you can get away with that because you can kind of muscle the car around the corners. But as opposed to the DW12, where you have to really be more of a finesse type driver. And I don't know about the ovals. This car is just kind of insane on the ovals, but it's really fun, and it being really fun really, I guess, motivates me to practice and show up to the races and have a blast. But
yeah, absolutely, and it sounds like it's been a blast out there for you all season long, ever since you made your 9 starts so far this season. But here today at Phoenix, as we're kind of watching up here, it's been hard to pass that. Now, what was your mindset with the last 20 to 30 laps? Did you think you had a shot at winning this race, or what was your mindset in the closing stages?
So with that pit stop where I think Otis and I pitted to make it into the fuel window, and I was 6th restarting, I felt pretty confident because I thought I had the pace. I was actually more worried about Otis and Jake behind me than the guys in front. I was pretty confident I'd get past most of them. But then on the first stint after that, I had a really hard time getting past Ian Adams. I couldn't get past him the whole stint. And that kind of worried me a little bit. I didn't know if I had time. And then he pitted for fuel. And I also got lucky because I avoided Big Joe and my teammate Joe Branch when there was a big mess in turn 1 and 2. So then I only had to get past Micus, and I had a really good fight with Micus. That was a blast. He raced really clean and really hard. I don't know how many times we got really close, but it never felt sketchy. It was just really good racing, and it was a shame that he kind of ran out of fuel because he definitely deserved a good finish. But yeah, I'll definitely take the win, and it was a pleasure racing against him.
All right, now we go to the conclusion of the season of the Lionheart Retro Series at Auto Club Speedway on November 2nd. How about getting victory number 5 on the season for Mr. Adam Blocker? What do you say?
I mean, normally I wouldn't look at Auto Club as a potential spot to win, but then again, I didn't look at Phoenix as a potential spot to win either. So, I mean, definitely with my recent form, I feel like I can win anywhere, and yeah, I just have a good bit of confidence going to the next race.
All right, that in confidence is all you need, and that's a great motivation for any driver, whatever you're driving on the sim of iRacing. Adam, congratulations. Thank you for taking your time to come talk with us here this evening, and best of luck to you in Auto Club Speedway.
Yeah, thank you. See you then.
Back to you, Soup.
Adam Blocker, our race winner today. Now we're going to talk to the guy who almost got a win, and that is Bob Micus. Bob, you can do a traditional pit stop strategy, race around 7th or 8th the whole race and come home finishing 7th, 8th, or 9th. Or you can do something bizarre like you did, race out front and come home about 10th. So all things being equal, I like your way.
Yeah, I could have stayed in back, could have stayed where I was, pit with everyone, finished in the top 7 or 8, and just had a nice clean race. But, got to stretch it sometimes. I was short by 0.1 gallon.
Yeah, actually, you didn't have to make that pit stop, did you? You were able to coast it home on the lead lap?
Yeah, it just crossing the start-finish line, going into turn 1, it started sputtering.
Now, when I'm watching the broadcast, when you first did it, I go, this is ridiculous. This isn't going to work. And little by little, I start saying, oh, okay, I understand what he's doing. Then, hey, this might work. When you were at the very end, first of all, I'm not familiar with the Lotus 79. Does it tell you how much? Did you know you were close? Did you thought maybe I got a shot at this?
I knew just from practice that we had about 7 laps or so to a gallon of gas, and right at about the 14 lap mark, I was at about 1.8. So it was really, really close.
In that last battle when you had with Blocker, you gave no attention to the fuel. You were just racing, I would imagine.
Yes and no. If I was able to get ahead of Blocker, I would have been able to let off a little bit because the aero is just so strong here. The chance of him getting by was slim. But I was just fighting to get ahead of him so I could have a chance to save the fuel.
Well, man, it was fun to watch. Congratulations on the attempt. It made the race really interesting, really fun to broadcast. I love it. Good luck to you. Let's go ahead and get a win here coming up in the last race at Fontana.
Hey, I'll try. We're here to make the broadcast enjoyment.
All right. Bob Mike is one of the best 10th place finishes you'll ever see. All right, let's go ahead and talk to, do we have up there? Oh, we have the guy who finished in second position, wasn't able to get there. Go ahead, Tanner. Talk to Jake Wright.
Yeah, I caught with Jake Wright, who was in the top 10 all day, but hasn't really had a chance to battle for the top spot for the race lead. But Jake, once again, good run here today, this evening, and this really closes up the championship point, which I would say you wouldn't be named the 2017 Retro Lionheart Series champion. What are your thoughts on today's race at Phoenix? Looked a little sketchy at times.
I wish it was locked up, but next week I believe we have double points, so it's not entirely out just yet. From what I can tell, it seems like I've at least got a pretty good shot at a top 2 in the season, and Ryan can definitely steal this thing away if something goes horribly wrong for me at Auto Club. But tonight's race was very intense and scary, and I just decided halfway through I just wanted to make sure I had a clean car at the end.
And speaking of having a clean car at the end, which you do, by the way, I have to ask, are you driving at least 3 screens? Because I don't know how you avoided that last incident on the racetrack, because that was some pure great driving by you there. Take us through that accident in turn 1 and 2.
I am running 3 screens, so I had a slight advantage, but I feel like in a wreck like this, everything happens so fast that it almost really is better to have one so you're not as scared trying to get through it. But Somebody spun up in front of me, so I started to check up, and somebody else spun, and then I spun because the car likes to get loose when you get rid of the power, and I took it through the grass and luckily didn't hit anything, and then almost hit Ryan when he was coming back down, and I'm happy that he didn't get any damage from that either, but that wreck went by so fast it's hard to recall what happened, but I'm very thankful that I made it through.
Absolutely, and you come home away with the second place on tonight here at Phoenix. Now we go to Fontana, which is a sister track, in my opinion, to Michigan International Speedway. I think Fontana is a little much more wider, but nonetheless, you finished 6th at Michigan early in the year. That was race number 2. Now we're going to Fontana. How do you feel about your chances in trying to go into victory lane one last time before we close out the season?
You know, it could happen, but usually I'm not very confident at most tracks, and I'm not a big fan of Michigan, but I like Fontana a little bit more. I don't know, we'll just have to see what happens. I like the track, and it's been a while since I've run there in a retro car, so I'm excited.
All right, Jake. Well, great run tonight to finish second place. A lot of bobbing and weaving and avoiding some accidents, but you come home with second place. Congratulations on that, on the podium finish, and we will see you in Fontana on November 2nd.
Thanks, guys.
Back to you, Soup.
There you go, Jake Wright, our second place finisher. We're gonna wrap up with our third place finisher. I had my eye on him the whole time. I'm talking about Pierre Nieden-Degla. Pierre, you started 20. Let's go right to qualifying. Why so far back in qualifying? Was that the best your car had?
No, I actually hit the wall on my second lap. I don't know why. I guess I just ran out of talent on my qualifying run, but I knew I could make the outside work pretty well all day long, so I slowly made my way back up to the front. A few good strategy calls, and that got me the third.
Yeah, we were watching you earlier. I had my eye on you right away because I said, hey, he looks like he can put his car up top, and it really goes up there, and then cleared out for you. Tell me about the way the car handles there at the end. It seems like the racing when it's the rubber is fresh and the tanks are full, really good early on. But boy, once it seems like the rubber goes away, hard to pass, huh?
Yeah, it's pretty hard to pass, and the reason I feel why the top has that much more grip than the bottom is compared to the 2012 version of Phoenix, since we ran the 08 version. The bottom is so much. There's so many bumps on the bottom, and especially in 3 and 4. So when you're on that outside, you can just pin it and get a good run. But yeah, this car's special because later in the run, the car would you would start to feel a little bit of push, but because of the fuel going down, it was compensating for it. So it was all right.
You know what? Let's talk actually about the track. I thought the track put on a pretty good show, though. It must have been frustrating to race, but at least on the bottom, you could dive it in there and have a taste of making the pass before the inside would give up.
Oh yeah, absolutely. But I love this version of Phoenix. I actually absolutely adore it. It's rougher. It's a little trickier, but it's possible. It's interesting. It's a unique challenge.
Well, Pierre, nice job on the finish today. And before I let you go, let me get you out on this because you're in several series. We have several different commentators. Let's have the official pronunciation of your last name.
Degla.
Degla. Okay, I got it. Okay, I got that recorded. That's how I'm going to say it from now on. Hey, congratulations on the podium, man.
Thanks, Soup.
Pierre Degla, the winner, our third place finisher today. Boy, Tanner, thanks for sitting in with me here and letting me do this. This was fun. What a good series, huh?
Yeah, I'm still trying to pronounce that. Degla. Got it. All right, we're good there. So, but yeah, it was a great race overall here at Phoenix, and it was actually great to call an actual retro race like Phoenix, since we are on the 2008 version, not the 2012 version like most people would run on iRacing, but it's great to run these old racetrack that still exist on the iRacing sim. Can't wait to get to Fontana, one of the newer racetracks on an oval side, believe it or not. Just came to iRacing about 1.5 to 2 years ago. So, and that's all laser scan too, so all the bumps, they're real, just like the real life aspect. So it's gonna be a real fun race to watch.
See, and I can blame the GSRC stat boys, Simon and Poindexter, who told me that Wright had this lap wrapped up. They did not realize that it's double points at Fontana. So yeah, this is still very much in the hunt. And how about the Lionheart guys for giving us double points there at the end to keep it exciting? You got to thank them for everything they do. You know, the IndyCar Series has been considered a premier fixed setup league for the IndyCars on the iRacing service, and this new Retro Series is quickly earning the similar reputation for the Lotus 79. GSRC is sure proud to be associated with both. Hey, how about Jason Galvin for sponsoring this afternoon's event? Thanks to the company's equipment and software that you see on the screen right now that we use on the broadcast, and the original music, and thanks to Eric Eckelman and Casey Lalonde. See the screen for how to contact them. If you didn't get enough of this and you want more, well, check back with us in 2 weeks, November 2nd, for the final from the Retro Series Championship, 250 from the Auto Club Speedway, double points, the championship still up for grabs. GSRC will be there. We hope you join us. If you'd like to find out more about GSRC, your best bet is the Global Sim Racing, GlobalSimRacingChannel.com. We're also on Twitter at GSR Channel and Facebook at Global Sim Racing Channel. And now, before we put a lock on the gate here at Phoenix, on behalf of the man who sat next to me, Tanner Sharp, our director Amjad Yaman, and the camera guru Dougie Beard, I'd like to thank all of you for watching. With that said, we're off to have fun storming the castle. So until next time, race clean, race hard, and we'll see you on the track.